Chair now recognizes the gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Bishop.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will say I've sat struggling to figure out what I think the Americans who may watch this hearing are to take from it. And it's troubling. An aspect of the ranking member's opening statement was interesting. I heard this part of it that really stuck with me. It sort of suggested, this is not what she said specifically, but it was sort of a paraphrase of what I heard her saying. To you witnesses, especially the three who've been serving the country as FBI agents and before, it was sort of like, so your lives have been turned upside down by the FBI in retaliation for raising questions about abuses of the rights of Americans? Good. How do you like it? That's kind of what I heard. It seemed that her perspective, she went on and talked about how people have been victimized by police all across the country. ACAB is the idea, and it's almost like since she thinks they're victims of plenty, it's okay if you're victimized. There's a supreme irony in that, isn't there? I mean, you have one of you was concerned about the improvident use of a SWAT team, and that's been ridiculed. Another of you has been concerned about about the investigation of people by the preeminent law enforcement agency in the country for nothing more than being on a bus to travel to a place where there was a speech by the president and so forth, and a couple of people on that bus were subsequently looked at. That your concern was whether the investigation was adequately predicated for those people. And that's ridiculed. It's astonishing. One of you was concerned about about the FBI sending people out to interview persons who were going to a school board meeting and expressing their views, because all they were engaged in was First Amendment activity. That's not an adequate predication for the investigative attention of law enforcement. And that's ridiculed. I don't quite get it. I will say this, in this process, fair cross-examination and even the impeachment of the credibility of witnesses is appropriate. Now, I will say, the things that have been attempted as impeachment of credibility here, no court in the country would allow, because they are not fair mechanisms for attempting to do that. But what has struck me is that these whistleblowers have your comportment, your demeanor, your poise, your articulation, your discipline has been exemplary at every point, even as the members on the dais beclown themselves. It's quite a testament, and it deepens something. I worried, to be candid, about this hearing because many Americans, it is my impression, and we're continuing to investigate, many Americans have been victimized by the distortions that have occurred in the leadership of the FBI. And I worried that we might have that. If you ever heard the quote, it's sort of used in athletics, never tell anyone your troubles, half the people don't care, and the other half are glad it happened to you. And that's a supremely pessimistic worldview. I don't really subscribe to it, but you've heard that out there. I think this is making a clear point, and I commend each of you for what you've done here, coming here and demonstrating who you are, and letting yourself be attacked in this way, because you've borne it really remarkably well. And I think Americans need to hear it, because there are other glimpses of just how the victimization is going on and how it's victimization at scale. This is one fact that struck me. The Bank of America records, the story that Bank of America turned over the credit card transactions, whether for an aircraft or a lodging or the purchase of a cup of coffee, for everyone who decided to come to Washington, to be in Washington area, the Northern Virginia area. That's one of the things that you asked questions about. There are victims all over the place. All of the people who suffered when the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security got involved in censorship with social media platforms, millions and millions of tweets and narratives being taken down. That is victimization at scale. It must be resolved. And the fact that those who profess to be most concerned about victimization of people by law enforcement in this country join in the victimization of you. I think that's the takeaway, at least for me, from this hearing, and my time has expired.
Gentleman's time expired. The chair now recognizes.
Hey, before you click on the next video, if y'all could do me a big favor and hit that like button. The algorithm loves it, and so do I, because it helps promote these videos and get the message out about what our government has been doing. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications, because every time I put out a video, you want to know about it, right? Thanks again, and have a good one. See you on the next one. Peace.